This video is going to walk through an upgrade to Enterprise Gateway 9.9.2 from either Enterprise Gateway 9.8.0 or 9.8.4. To determine the version of the Enterprise Gateway you're currently using, launch the VIP Enterprise Gateway console and you'll see the version at the bottom of the screen. In this case, it's 9.8.0. You can also see the version if you browse to the installation directory. Under the version.txt. You can see this version is 9.8.0 also. And that matches what we see here. First, we're going to log into VIP Enterprise Gateway, and we're just going to make sure that all of our services start up correctly. This Enterprise Gateway, I get a very basic setup. So I'm going to go ahead and start my validation server. I'm going to start my LDAP synchronization service. Now, if you're not using the LDAP synchronization service, this step won't be necessary. But if you are, and it's already on, toggle it off and then back on just to make sure it starts up. And if you get the self-service portal or My VIP set up, you can also attempt to start the service. This is 9.8.0 and My VIP wasn't introduced in 9.8.0. So in this case, we're just doing the self-service portal and it started up successfully. Before any upgrade, it's recommended you go into the settings, go to export, and allow the Enterprise Gateway to export all of these settings. You can encrypt the export if you want to. In this case, I'm not going to. And then download. Now, normally you'll save this file off the server, like on a thumb drive or even on a file share site, just so if something ever happens to the server, you can reinstall and import the settings. In this case, it just downloaded to the downloads folder. The one thing this does not export is the VIP certificate. When you install fresh, the VIP certificate also needs to be installed fresh, and that's available from your VIP manager portal. SSL certificates will have to be re-imported. And if those aren't available from the previous Enterprise Gateway, you can recreate those and import them. In this case, hopefully this isn't an issue because we're just going to be doing an upgrade. And during an upgrade, all of the settings, certificates, everything is preserved. Only the version will be changed and upgraded. Next, we're going to go to our VIP manager and we're going to download the upgrade file by clicking the Account tab, Download Files, Enterprise Gateway. And to determine which version of the Enterprise Gateway you need to upgrade to, you're going to refer to the upgrade guide for Enterprise Gateway 9.9.2, which ultimately we're going to be going to. Here we can see that if you're upgrading from 9.8.0 to 9.8.1, 9.8.2, or 9.8.3, you must first upgrade to the Enterprise Gateway 9.8.4 and then upgrade to 9.9.1. In VIP Manager, we'll go to 9.8, and you'll see this is the base build. 9.8.0 is the base that you'll install, and upgrading requires one of the patches. Here we'll go from A9.8.4, 9.8.0 to 9.8.4. We'll just go ahead and download that. In our downloads folder, we can see the file. I'm just going to extract this. This is the contents of the extracted file. That is right here. we're going to go to our C drive or the root of whichever drive the Enterprise Gateway software is installed to. So if your software is installed to the D drive, you'll go to the D drive, but in this case it's a C drive. There's an existing TMP folder. I'm just going to use this one, but if you don't have a temp folder, you can just create one. I'm going to go in here and pull this over and open a new File Explorer and go to our downloads and grab this and pull this over here. And to make this simple, because we're going to be running this from a command line, I'm going to just give this folder the name 984. Now once that's done, I'm going to open another folder and go to our Enterprise Gateway directory and go to the Tools folder. Now you'll notice that the contents of the folder that we created in the temp directory, the 984, is very similar here. What we're going to do is on the Enterprise Gateway installation, we're going to locate the actionscript.jar file. I'm just going to rename this to _98 to indicate that this is the one that we used with 98. And then we're going to copy this one to this folder. We're now going to launch a command prompt as administrator. I'll just resize this just a little bit, and we're going to navigate to this folder, the tools folder and the installation. And once we're there, we're going to run the command line to execute the upgrade. Calling actionscript.bat, and then we're going to give the path of this to temporary files. If for whatever reason you used any spaces in your path, you'll need to put quotes around the path, and then we're going to give it the version that we're upgrading to, and this is 984. I'm going to leave the console open here. This is the console, so I can show you that once the upgrade kicks off, after a few seconds, you'll see that it actually looks like it's done. But what it's doing is in the background, it's performing the upgrade. And if you refresh this, it'll reflect that. And this will only take a couple of minutes to complete. But once it's complete, this will change to a completed screen. Once this changes to the upgrade completed successfully, you can refresh this page, but it may give you unable to connect. That's because the actual service takes a few seconds to initiate and start back up. And we're back in our console. We can log in. And you can see now we're on version 9.8.4. If we go to the Enterprise Gateway folder and look at the version.txt, it should say the same, and it does, 9.8.4. And so now we're ready to proceed to the next portion of the upgrade. What you can do is you can go into each of the services and attempt to start them just to confirm that they do start up. You'll notice with the 984 and above, we've got the option to enable My VIP. My VIP is the next generation of the self-service portal, IDP. And now that we're done with that, we can go back to our VIP manager and we can download the upgrade from 9.8.4 to 9.9.1. Per the upgrade guide, the 992 upgrade guide that is shown here, we'll be skipping 9.9.0. I downloaded the upgrade files. I went ahead and did the 991 and 992 upgrades, and we'll extract the same way and follow the same procedure to go from 980 to 984 when going from 984 to 991. Now that we're on 9.9.1, we can attempt to start the services. If you're using the LDAP synchronization service, when you attempt to turn it on, you'll notice that it won't turn on immediately. Instead, you get a message that a simulation is running in the background. The simulation is a feature they added to this version so that any changes that have been made to your user store, a simulation will run, and that'll contain all of the changes that will be made had this been an actual LDAP synchronization. And those changes can be found in the logs under the simulation log. The nice thing about this is I like to just go here and search for the word total. And you can see total number of fetch from my user store. There were 7 users. Total numbers who will be deleted is 14. Total numbers who will be updated is 3. Now in my actual LDAP synchronization, I don't have add enabled, and I don't have the administrator synchronization enabled. So that's the totals. That's why it's limited to those totals. But those will reflect accordingly if you have any of these enabled. Once that simulation is done, you'll get an alert here. You just go ahead and clear the alert, and now the LDAP synchronization service will start. While that's starting, you'll notice that the services console has two LDAP synchronization services. The Symantec LDAP sync service is that simulation service we mentioned. So when this is running, a simulation is in progress. When it's done and you start the Enterprise Gateway service, this type changes to automatic and the status goes to running, just like you see here. If we refresh this, you'll see this is as expected. It's recommended that you always start and stop the services from the Enterprise Gateway console, because doing it from here, the pre-checks, the checks that user store connectivity and cloud connectivity, etc., is done. If you force it from the services console, then it could cause some issues in the future when you're doing an upgrade or during validations. I'll go ahead and attempt to start the rest of my services. Click the Home tab, and everything looks good. Now I'll proceed to upgrade to 992, doing the same thing. And it looks like all my services started up successfully. So this looks like a successful upgrade. You'll see 992 at the bottom. If you go to the actual Enterprise Gateway folder, you'll see 992 in the version.txt. And if you want to take it one step further, you can run a VIP diagnostics on the gateway just to ensure you got connectivity. And since you're already in the tools folder, you can just launch that by typing VIP diagnostic.bat. And this does a check of all the various connections and components in the Enterprise Gateway. Wherever you see red, you'll want to pay attention to that. But in this case, the mail server connectivity in Auto BC mode is expected because I don't have my mail server connectivity set up yet. Also, under the certificates, you will see a warning, which is purple, because some of the certificates under the Trusted CA certificates are installed by default. There's 218 trusted CA certificates. Some of them may have been expired, which is okay. If you were to install your own SSL certificate, you could import the chain here in here. So you can safely ignore the warnings here. The last thing we're going to do, if possible, create a backup of the server or create a snapshot in case you ever need to roll back for whatever reason. But at the very least, go to your export settings and go ahead and create a new export just like we did previously. This way, should something ever happen to this particular server and you need to do a fresh install, you have all your settings. These are your user store settings, your LDAP settings, everything that can be imported. And then once you import your certificates also, then it'll be back to where it was when this export was created. To confirm if the Enterprise Gateway is functioning, go ahead and start sending traffic, validation traffic, and other traffic to the server. Once traffic is received, you'll begin to see these logs being populated. I've only got one validation server, so this is my only log, but you'll also see that your self-service portal log is here, your user store sync. So you can actually go into these and see if validations are coming in. I don't have any validations happening, but if you did, you'd start seeing them instantly in this log. If you run into any problems during the upgrade, you can browse the Enterprise Gateway installation folder and go to the logs, and you'll see an update file, and you can refer to that. And if there's any errors, they would be seen in this log file. I didn't get errors. I did get an upgrade as successful, but if for some reason it doesn't complete successfully, it would be in here, and either you can self-resolve it yourself, or you can contact Symantec VIP support from your Broadcom portal and open a case, and we'll assist you. Hope this video helped everyone. Good luck.